say they were too stupid to understand my idea. And I go, that's what everybody says in bankruptcy court. Everybody in bankruptcy court says that.
Yes.
I slept last night, which is a rarity. Have you ever heard the deal? Barack Obama was having to record a couple of like PSAs, and the intern that was in there had some of the headphones that I wear.
Really?
And when the president was ready, he pulls them out of his pocket and gives it to him like in the ball. And it took Obama 5 minutes to pull them apart. And the whole time when Obama's doing the interview, he goes, I'm the most powerful man in the world, and I'm spending my day taking apart these headbuds and staring at this young man in shame since it wasn't already ready. Real life shit. Real life. What's up, man?
Oh, dude, can I tell you, like, I heard about the most educated way of voting I've ever heard of. I was talking to my business partner who runs the Pune office, okay? He had slides of all the candidates in his constituency. How many of them had MBA degrees? How many of them had LinkedIn profiles and were connected to other technology influencers in the world? Who are they following? Right. Like he had analysis of everybody, including how many of them had criminal cases against them.
That matters. That matters. So over here, they would say that he's just one of them elites. Literally, they would manage to turn that into a negative, that he'd taken the time to do the right thing. And then we get the backlash of, well, I didn't know this guy was this stupid and this weird. We have a guy here right now named Dusty Devers. It's worth people looking up because the videos he's now doing are crazier than ever.
Is it with the redneck looking guy with that flag behind him?
Well, that narrows it down.
That's actually like 5,000.
Doesn't it? That narrows it. So this guy is from Lawton, Oklahoma. For any of you that want to go 5 minutes down the rabbit hole, he is a white Christian nationalist. There's no doubt about it. He wants Jesus Christ to be in charge of government, which is a little difficult since he's not on the planet.
Yep.
Yeah. And he means it. But he's got like, 100 children, really has about 6, which would be normal 50 years ago, not normal anymore. But he's not scary because he has no power, and he's already shown himself to be a buffoon. So sooner or later, he's got to go centrist to get anybody to work with him. Does that make sense? You can act as crazy as you want, but sooner or later, you need votes on bills. Like not one single bill of Dusty Devers, which I don't know if you remember the movie. We call him Dirk Diggler. Google that one, because if I say it, YouTube will take us down. But he can't get anybody to work with him. So now he sooner or later is going to have to make the moves to get somebody to work with him.
Now, wow.
Yeah, I'm in crazy land, buddy. Have you seen the movie The Black Klansman? Have you ever seen it?
I have. I've watched
Spike Lee. It's a Spike Lee movie. Okay, so I'm trying to remember the guy's last name. His name's Kevin, but he was a director of it, and he directed and produced a movie that a friend of mine wrote the book for. So I spent Friday night having dinner with this guy after they gave a speech that day, and he and I had or at least I did. I had the best damn 2-hour dinner I've had with anybody in a long time. But it was almost, he thought that I was the person that brought their movie to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I'm like, oh, I just own a pub. And he goes, wait, and I go, yeah, I just have the look that I get stuff done on a big level. And then everybody at the table started telling him all the weird stuff that I do activism wise. And he literally, you can see him go, we need more of you. And I go, well, I know, but there just aren't very many of us. So I don't know where you're going to find them. But it was fun. I mean, that was really fun. He grew up in Kansas, which I feel bad for him as a black man. That's not an easy place to be. So anyway, Black Klansman. So I got to watch it again. I mean, I remember it the first time watching it going, oh, that was brilliant. But now I got to do it again.
Yeah, it is an interesting movie. I like it too.
Yeah, I've spoken this whole 5 minutes. Okay, tell me what's up. What are we in trouble for this week?
I was actually going to tell you that the internet kept coming in and out. So I might have to edit that section out. I don't know whether it's you or me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's put on the glasses. I am showing 4 full bars and the full spectrum deal. So
Maybe I'm running too many things on this computer where it's hanging.
yeah.
That's all it must be.
Hey, so the weather in Mumbai appears to be pretty brutal now. Is that you
Yeah.
guys had a? Did you see the size of that sign that fell on people and killed them?
Yeah. Almost what, 60 people? The one I sent you?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was a big ass sign. Oh no, I just saw it on one of the feeds. I don't think I got it from you.
Okay.
Not crazy.
That city basically faces the Arabian. Yeah, that side would be the Arabian Sea.
Right,
Yeah. So there are times where there are powerful storms, technically cyclones that come through there.
right.
Wow.
Dang, buddy. Okay, so we were supposed to be talking about the term "killing it."
Uh-huh.
Isn't that the?
Can I tell you, I hate that term anytime someone asks me, hey, did you
Right.
hear about that guy? He's killing it. I'm like, dude, just shut up. Just shut up.
So I grew up in an era where nobody, literally nobody, cheered people on like that. You know, if you were successful in business, they'd go, "Oh, good for him." I
Yeah.
mean, that was as big as it got. And when I hear younger people, because I'm 60, so I get to say younger people's almost everybody, say stuff like that, you go, I don't know if you know how weird that sounds. Because
Yeah.
you know, you literally in business, oh, they're killing it. And you go, killing what, dude? They closed like 3 deals and made some money. That is not. Now,
In business, when people tell me killing it, I'm always thinking about like the lowest level of employees getting screwed with their wages. That's what you're killing.
right,
Anything.
right. Yeah, it is. Well, I always look back to, you know, the Kennedy family were somebody that my dad always looked up to. And knowing full well that they were criminals and smuggled booze and everything else, we, like lots of people, if it's our own ethnic population, are willing to look the other way, whatever it took them to make their money. Now, Kennedy's dad not only would prop up stocks and tell everybody to go buy them and then sell, you know, I mean, which still happens. People are just a little more careful about it. And then did booze and all this other stuff. He would have been killing it, for lack of a better word. Very few people get to that realm anymore, because we think of a millionaire back when I was a child is probably close to what a billionaire is now, because you get that quick ramp up. And in our day, everything was just a cog in the wheel, and you literally just had to grind something to a pulp to get it to work. You know, not hence the word grind it, man, grind it. Doesn't mean the same thing that I don't but you know, business was never a TV show back then, and it wasn't a cable network, and it wasn't people trying to get you on board to sell their multi-level listing products.
Yeah.
And that's when business had to sound exciting. So when I was younger, I used to watch CNBC in the morning. It's a TV station here. But even it started to get weird, and they would prop up presidents of companies and stuff. And you go, I'm not sure that guy's actually any good at what he does. Where he goes, things go up. But you can't do that in a year at a place like General Electric or General Motors. You know, you just can't do it. So, like everything, we got a lot of fluff, and I'm interested to see how you guys do in the long run, because a few of you are killing it and doing really well. But that's not the secret. You know what the secret is if you're 60? Keeping it. Like, how much can you keep, or what do you do with it? That's the whole different. I made a ton of money in my early 20s. Guess how much of it I still have?
My guess would be none. Hell yeah. See, that's
big fat donut. Zero. Right. But man, it was a good run, brother. It was a good run. And would I do it again? No, not with this body, but I would with that one. I mean, so take the crazy. Have you ever seen that graph that is like beautiful women versus crazy? And it's funny. Yeah. I mean, it really is a good joke. Do that with young people making tons of money, because I wasn't mature enough to have that kind of access.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had access to things no 21, 22, 23-year-old should have access to.
Mm-hmm.
But it was fun. I won't lie.
Where the people in the background
was an
saying
idiot.
like, this is going to go off the rails very quick.
He's going off the rails again, Joe. Well, and then it was in their best interest to keep me as much on the rails as they could so they could make more money off of me in the meantime. And they weren't, no nefarious actors came and tried to take advantage of me. Nobody needed to help me do it. But immaturity is really I mean, that's a bigger door stopper than anybody believes. And that's just from personal experience. I don't have any statistics or anything else, but I wasn't as mature as your guy who literally looked everybody up and made sure they had the educational background to be elected.
I know. And also the weird part was he's also thinking about our company's future because he wanted to see how many of them are involved in like the technology industry and would bring more tech companies to that city type thing. I was like, whoa, this is like way more in depth than I planned most things.
Right. Well, think about you remember a guy named H. Ross Perot? He was a chip maker in Dallas and he ran for president. And his company in Dallas just brought in so much tax revenue. It was astounding because he made a product in one place that sold all over the world, like Hollywood films. You know, the city of Los Angeles, with the companies that are there for film companies, used to just bring in, enormous amounts of money to the city and the state because their products went all over the world. I mean, that's what you want. Your friend's correct. Whether you can get the normal people to feel that way or not is, we'll see.
I know, that was the weird thing, right? When he was showing me all of this, I was like, how many other people do you think are going this much in detail, thinking about the future of not just that politician influencing that city, but also the future of the city?
Right.
And how many people actually take the time off to do that? Or do they actually know that most people don't have the time? That's why they get away with it?
So we have people who just flagrantly lie. We're in a, and that's probably, I mean, let's be honest, it's probably always happened.
Yeah.
With technology and audio and video, we catch a lot more of it. But there's also so much more there. How do you decipher it? How do you decipher all of this stuff?
Yeah.
You and I both knowing what you know about AI and me knowing what I've done to manipulate it over the past few years. We know it's really coming.
Yeah.
And what are you going to do in deep fakes here in about 4 months?
Can I tell you?
There's going to be a bunch of
here because it's almost the end of our elections. The final phases are getting done. Now
you're seeing them?
Yeah, there are AI videos of Modi doing fancy stuff, this person fancy stuff, and just a weird thing. And the article that I saw in Bloomberg was talking about how a lot of the elderly population and also people in rural areas do not know how to tell the difference between an AI-generated video and just a regular video. They just assume that this is news, though it's just misinformation being spread on a massive scale through WhatsApp.
God. And WhatsApp doesn't take anything down?
Yeah. Sean, there have been like court cases all over the world where they're still asking Meta to have more than like 100 moderators for a country our size in India.
Right.
They have like 100 dudes clicking through that. How much can they take down?
Right. Yeah. It's I mean, we're in for something weird. And I think the best thing I can say without ruining everybody's morning is stupid people used to be the problem. Now it's going to be regular folks. Just looking, going, well, I heard him say it. I saw it. His mouth was moving and everything.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do that one. And I mean, I really don't. And between Trump and Joe Biden, the two octogenarians we're stuck with, that's the best we can do. A guy that sits in court and farts all day and falls asleep, and another guy that just falls asleep at his job. I mean, Jesus. And there'll be $2 billion spent on this campaign.
Oh, wow.
Billion with a B. Right.
Media buying.
Right. And that's a big economy of its own. And so we need to look at that too. And look, the British suck as well. I mean, I hate to break it to them, even with their elections where you can only spend such an amount of money, they still ended up with, what's the idiot that had the hair? Johnson?
Boris Johnson? Yeah.
Yeah, what a moron that guy was. I mean, ruined the health system. Not that it was that great to start with, but he put the dagger in it. So they don't get to brag either. And evidently, the colonies took after their mother, and we're just going down the same rabbit hole. Yeah,
I know. Isn't it funny to watch? Speaking of funny things, Sean, did you see that portal that they put between New York City and Dublin so people can see each other real time through that little thing?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So they obviously don't know what the Irish are going to do the whole time, which is flip everybody off.
I think they shut it down today just because they couldn't handle what was going on.
Right. Oh, yeah. Well, and Irish people in America of Irish descent do not understand what real Irish people are about.
Like proper Irish people in Ireland after the Dublin bars have let out. That is a totally different breed. Yeah. Which is closer to Bostonized, is my feeling.
I think they should have done it in Boston, and both sides would have been doing the same crazy stuff. I mean, wasn't that a great idea, though? But you know what you want to do is go your nostalgic view of Ireland, which is now like Italy. Everybody's over 80 or under 8. They have no economy. All they do is make beer and whiskey, you know, and everybody else is left. I mean, you guys have so many people, you don't have this problem. We don't have a talent pool there. Like it doesn't exist. It's in America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, you know, all the former prison colonies. Just 4 million people. It reminds me a little bit of Oklahoma. You know, our economy is booming here in Oklahoma City because all the people are literally leaving the rural areas and moving to the city. We didn't do anything special. Yeah. You know, it's just booming because of that. Yeah. Crazy, buddy. Dusty Devers. That's who everybody's got to look up. Dusty Devers.
By the way, James did send me an article which said that there are more Indians who own houses in London than ever before, which means that we basically
taking the country back.
And we're like, all right, we're getting this city.
See, and you guys didn't even have to shoot a gun. All you got to do is just roll in with money and intelligence.
Yeah.
Whoever thought that would matter? Honestly, whoever thought that would matter? Look, you guys are the #1 income group here in America. And what's interesting is there's so much bigotry and anti-immigration stuff here, yet you cannot go to a doctor without them being a foreigner. I mean, it is crazy, especially a specialist. Yeah.
So the funny part was, like, one of my friend's fathers was a doctor, and he was like a hilarious guy from South Africa. And he was like the most fun physician I've ever talked to, Sean. And besides that, it would be all the immigrant doctors. But when I had that accident with the Uber,
where it destroyed your face,
that time it was a white guy, the surgeon, and Alex was making fun of me. He was like, "I don't think the Indians like you very much. They might be hiding back and then like send the whitey to him."
Right. So he's out front. He's out front. The dynamic. So what I'd want to explain to anybody listening somewhere else, because it sounds like I'm mean about the state here. So we used to have a governor here named Mary Fallon, and everybody thought she was a bit of a fool. But all she did was try to get people to go to college because their lives would be better. The problem was they didn't say you just need to go to a state school and get an education. And these folks were going to private schools for 10 to 40 grand a year and then taking jobs as social workers, which would never pay off the debt. And we have a lack of understanding about money in America. We just, everybody's always been able to make enough to get a house and a car. They have. And that is no longer the case. Yeah. And people are puzzled, literally puzzled. Like, well, I went to school, like they said, and you go, right, but you got a degree in archaeology. I mean, how did you think you were going to sell that? Well, no one told me I was going to have to sell anything. You know what I mean? Yeah. So all the dentists in Oklahoma City appear to be Vietnamese. It just appears that way. It's not that way, but a good variety of them are. Vietnamese females as well. tiny hands. God, they work and there's no pain. There's no, you know, you get one of these big guys that should have been in construction. They tear your mouth out. They have figured out their niche. Insurance, a whole bunch of Vietnamese guys in insurance. I mean, immigrant groups look and go, where do the whiteys not want to be? Let's go take that business. And then it takes you a while, and then you move into mainstream business and get into everything else, and then your kids do the same thing our kids do, and we shame you for it. But but the rise up is pretty quick. It can be one generation if you're educated in America, especially with a work ethic of an immigrant or an immigrant son, because they will beat you to death if you don't work like them. Yeah, as you and I both know. So we got that going for us.
Hell yeah.
Do people still ask you when you sleep? Because daily I get when do you sleep? And I go, when I'm not doing something.
Can I tell you, your business partner, Diana, she had this conversation with me yesterday. She was like, I still don't understand when you or Sean sleep. And I've known you all for like most of the past 20 years. I was like, I know.
But here's the thing. Do you want to own your own stuff? Do you want to control your own destiny? These days, everything is worldwide. I want to cover something before we get off of here real quick.
Yeah.
These days, everything is worldwide, which you and I are not afraid to do.
Yeah.
Well, you got to package that and go, when do I get to do business with Deepak? 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock. It's the end of his day, beginning of mine. That's when we get to do it. So how do you get that to happen? So here we are adding, this is hilarious. So the government in Oklahoma is adding one more year of mathematics to high school, which if you have a computer or this thing called a phone, it does the math for you. Yeah. So you really don't need one more. Guess what we're cutting out?
It's going to be
foreign language.
Jesus.
Foreign language.
Oh, God.
So for the 3% of us that are bilingual, white kids that are...
Sean, let's be realistic. It's not 3%. It's some 0 decimal percentage.
And it is the thing I have made the most money on my entire life. And I will guarantee you it's what you've made the most money on in your entire life, because we can deal with people nobody else knows how to deal with. Right. So we're killing that.
No. So, like, it's short-sighted, to say the least. Like, trying to get kids into the STEMs program, I can understand that. But at what
which you can't make them do that. You just can't make them do that.
No.
So the study by this guy named Ron Sharp, who's a former senator here, and he's an education guy. That was his specialty. 85% of the people that really and truly go off the charts in schools, mathematically, science, back to the STEM programs, and go to public schools. They don't go to private schools like you would think. Because private schools, you got to already probably have at least a sizable income. I mean, I put 5 kids through private school. One day we'll talk about how much that cost. There was my retirement right there. I gambled on the wrong thing. I'm kidding. That was a joke. But they all came out of public school because public school had STEM programs. Private schools have like AP courses. That's as close as it comes. But you already know that person's smart because you know their parent was smart. And it's the small group of people that go to the private school already know. It's the public ones with immigrants. What we really need to be looking for over here, and you are evidently looking for over there, is the next Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
Smart enough, but a good salesperson. Because whether you like it or not, I don't give a shit what you make. You got to be able to sell it.
Yeah, you can build like the most amazing thing. If nobody fucking uses it, what is the point?
If they've never heard of it, it doesn't matter. If you have flying shoes and you don't know how to explain it to an idiot, because God knows we got enough of those, that's your consumer. You know, and you can look at them all day long and say they were too stupid to understand my idea. And I go, that's what everybody says in bankruptcy court. Everybody in bankruptcy court says that. There's your opening clip for our show, by the way, right there.
I know.
Everyone was too stupid to understand your business.
That makes so much sense.
Right. So the biggest thing I learned off of Dan Cunningham, who's a guy that you know here, was the most boring businesses make the most money because nobody wants to do them. And I'm taking this full circle back to, he's killing it. He's doing this. Nobody tells anybody that picks up trash for a living that they're killing it.
Mm-hmm.
But they are actually hitting the version of killing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A guy that's, so Aubrey McClendon, this guy that ended up killing himself here, that basically brought horizontal drilling to the main part of society. So they understood it was called fracking, which is not true. But anyway, we're just going to go beyond that. That guy was always on CNBC, and he'd always have his tie down a little bit, and the sleeves were rolled up where, you know, you and I know you're not supposed to roll it up more than 2 rolls. But if you're trying to look like you worked hard, you do that hard roll, you know, because we had people show us not to do it the other way. And he would always look like he was this hardworking guy. And he's a legacy of the Kerr McGee fortune. I mean, yeah, it's not, I never worked a hard day in his life. He was gambling with money. I mean, that's what he was doing. He was gambling with everybody's money. And it worked for a little while until it didn't. My whole point is he was a TV personality, and he enjoyed it because, you know, people like that. And everywhere you go, they go, oh, man, I saw you on TV. Oh, I saw you on TV. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you buy the stock of the guy that empties trash.
Yeah.
He's not selling you shit. He's got, you know, he smells like trash. Well, actually, he doesn't because he's in the office. But the other folks are simple. You know, I pay $100 a week for a guy to come and take this big container out of my place, push it down, and go drop it in the landfill. I mean, you know, probably cost him $10, and I pay $100. That's real money. That's better than drug money.
Yeah, wasn't that what Tony Soprano did? Or one of those?
So mobsters are in nursing homes, trash, everything that nobody wants to deal with, because Americans put their parents in nursing homes and then don't go see them.
Yeah.
So it's a shame business. So you really don't get to go complain because they go, when was the last time you were here? Mm-hmm. And you're complaining about me? You don't even come. Right.
That actually makes sense.
Same thing. Yeah, empty your own trash. How's that working out for you? What do you mean? Well, there's nowhere for you to empty it. There's a place for me to empty it. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, look, boring businesses, work at it, become good, learn how to market, learn how to sell. I mean, sales is a science. It's really not just somebody like me that can speak to most people, or somebody like you that can only speak to the 3% and everybody else hates you. I mean, it's different than that.
Thank you for that.
I know.